All right, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to the ASAP Afternoon Blitz, Tuesday, January 10th, 2023. Got a lot to talk about today. Big national championship game last night in the college football playoffs. Game was wasn't the national championship game we were hoping for. Georgia just smoked TCU last night, like 65-7, something like that. It was one of the largest victories in a bowl game we've had. But it was an interesting night. Plus, like I said, got NFL playoffs coming up. I'm joined by Jay McLovin. And how's it going, Jay?
It is going well. As you said, man, it was a rough night last night. You know, you can't not come to play when you play Georgia. You got to come to play, man. And as we know, it just didn't turn out or matriculate the way we thought it would. And yeah, I mean, I thought Georgia would win it, but I felt like TCU would at least put up a harder fight. Max Duggan just was not mentally prepared for that game. I think it showed in his play. I think we all saw in his play that he was not mentally prepared. And ultimately, it results.
I don't want to hear this. I thought Georgia would win, but I wanted TCU to win because you guys came at me yesterday.
Listen. But at the same time, I felt like if TCU came out to play, that it would be a close game, and they did not look like TCU, the TCU that played against Michigan. They just didn't look like the same team.
I thought Georgia would win the game, like I said yesterday, but I didn't think it was going to be that big of a blowout. I thought it was going to be more of a competitive game.
I thought it was going to be more like a 2-score, 3-score game, not this.
And I think that's what a lot of us were thinking. I mean, I felt like if TCU came out strong like they did against Michigan, I felt like we had a chance. And obviously that wasn't the case. If you watch that game from start to finish, which I know we all did, well, actually, I got to be honest with you, after about 3/4 of it, I said, fuck it. And that's when I started taking a little jack. But anyway, but before that happened, I'm just saying, at the end of the day, I felt like if they came out and played them like they played Michigan, that TCU would have a fighting chance in this game. And it didn't happen that way. Matter of fact, it was the opposite. It was Georgia that came out fast and in a hurry. And then TCU had to play, makeup, which, that never works. So it is what it is, man. But damn, I really felt like it was going to be closer.
And we're also joined by Nate. How's it going, Nate?
I'm doing good. I thought it was going to be a lot closer than this. I mean, I didn't think it was going to be 1-score game, but more like, hey, down by 3 touchdowns at most.
Yeah. Frankie said he's glad he picked Georgia.
Obviously, they were the heavy favorites, right? I mean, this is the top of the SEC, and we're talking about the Big 12. So it's a good story, man. Honestly, the Frogs weren't even ranked to go into this season, and to make it as far as they did as an unranked team, I'm still going to, even though they got blew out, I'm still tipping my hat to the Horned Frogs because honestly, nobody had them even being there. Nobody. So it is what it is, man. Damn it, man. But it is what it is.
No, they had a great TCU had a great season. You can't take that away from them. But last night, Georgia just they look good. Stetson Bennett was slinging the ball, but what the biggest difference was, and it was the reason I picked Georgia was the line of scrimmage. Georgia was able to control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, and that affected TCU's offense where Duggan couldn't get anything. They couldn't get anything going. They wanted to try to go up tempo to try to wear Georgia out, but they couldn't even do that because they couldn't get first downs to keep their defense on the field. And then you had Georgia's offense that was just marching up and down the field at will. Whether it was Bennett hitting that tight end Bowers for Georgia is. Man, that dude is sick. He has to play college one more year. He could go out now and I think be a real high pick. But man, and that's the thing, man. If you look at Georgia's schedule for next year, they have a pretty soft schedule next year. It's not out of the reach that they could be trying to compete for 3 in a row next season.
Yeah, and again, keep in mind too that this is only year one of Sonny Dykes at TCU.
Yeah.
I mean, this was his first damn year, and he's already in the national title game. I don't think this is the last of TCU, and I certainly don't think it's the last of Sonny Dykes. I would not be surprised if TCU does start making more noise as we go along. I would not be surprised if they did start making more noise. Where do you have TCU ranked for next year? And where do you think they'll rank them for next year?
I'm gonna say they're gonna have them between the. I'm probably gonna say maybe. I think they might open them up at top 10. A lot of it depends what who's going to be their quarterback. I mean, that's going to be a big question for TCU for next year. So who's going to be the quarterback, and is he going to be able to lead that team like Dugan did? So,
right, absolutely. And I know that they're the only ones getting a new quarterback. I believe Alabama's getting a new quarterback as well. Am I right?
Georgia.
Be getting Mock or what's that guy's name?
And Georgia will be getting a new quarterback. So I mean, Ohio State will be getting a new quarterback.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of reset programs.
Yeah, Michigan will have the same quarterback. So actually, out of the top teams this year, Michigan's is going to be one of them that will have the same quarterback,
but might not have the same coach.
Yeah, they might not have the same coach. That's true.
Man, Harbaugh's coming back. Blue, stop it. Jim Harbaugh's coming back.
I don't know.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
The more I
he would have left for that Michigan job and not taking a pay cut to stay at Michigan. You don't take pay cuts unless you're serious about them.
AP says TCU at 6. That's what I was basically getting at. The 5 to 10 range, somewhere around there. I figure it's probably where they'll open up.
And where do you think they put Bama? Because everybody always puts Bama.
2. I think they're going to put them at 2.
It was just something completely.
You think Bama will be at 2?
I don't think they should be at 2, but I think they're going to put. Okay, that's fair. Ohio State, so Bama 3.
I hate to say it. I think
Bama
top 5.
You sold out quick. You should have held on to your guns a little harder.
I didn't think about Ohio State, but
that's why I got Bama more at. I got Bama more around than like Frankie has, about number 4. And I haven't met number 4 simply because of the fact that it is Nick Saban. So I do want to give him another shot. But again, like you said, everybody's resetting. Except for Michigan, everybody's resetting the tool at quarterback. So you got to figure who's going to come out with the better quarterback.
I think.
And then where does Texas come up into? Because Archie Manning will be what? He's about what? Another year away. I think Ewers will probably get the starting nod. This will be Archie's freshman year. I think Archie comes into the equation not this year, but next year.
Yeah, Texas will be good. It's going to be different. But let me ask you guys this, because I know, Jay, you weren't a fan of the 12-team playoff to begin with.
No, not at all.
Does this game, the way the game went last night, does that? Do you think that kind of the people that were against the 12-team expansion? Do you think the way that game went last night kind of helped their argument since it was such a blowout?
If anything, I think it makes it worse because if they're getting blown out at this level, what is 12 teams going to be? Honestly, what is 12 teams going to be? I think I felt like 6, in my opinion. 6 was 5 or 6. I thought it should have been still the same 4, but I thought the 4th and the 5th seed should have had a play-in tournament to see if the 5th seed should be. I thought it should have been a little bit like basketball where they do the play-in. I'm okay with the 5-team play-in where 4 and 5 play into it, and then we get the national championship or national games going on, right? But I think you need to have that 4 and 5 play-in before you start. And I think that would be, to me, that would be more – it would be better for me. But I know they're going to want that watered-down shit, so they're going to go down to 12.
I think they probably should do it more like how they do – how NFL does it, where the winner of each conference will be in the playoffs automatically and have a couple of wild card maybe, depending on how high you're ranked. what your record is.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and again, but a lot of it's political too, because how many times has Bama been always put at 4, and yet Georgia gets back to back? Why do we continuously always put Bama, in that top 4? But again, I get Nick Saban is there, so
I see what you're saying. But, that's what I'm saying by like record. Record is how you should put it, not by ranking.
Yeah, speaking of Nick Saban, did you guys see Nick Saban's face with Pollock on during the halftime show? Was sitting right beside him and said that Georgia has taken over college football. You should have saw Nick Saban's face looking at that Pollock. It was fun. Oh, I started cracking up. That Pollock.
Yeah, he's like, hey, dude, I know they got like 2 championships, but hey, I still got 6.
Yeah.
I did hear what he said, but I didn't see his face when he said it.
Saban kind of gave him that look like.
You know how you get that side eye, like, yeah, right, okay, whatever.
Yeah. I started cracking up. I was like,
you know what though? But it's good. Hey, it's good to see guys like.
He also played for Georgia.
Yeah, I just like to see guys like Nick Saban get humbled. It's nothing better than seeing that kind of guy get humbled.
Yeah. Hold on. Blue and red. That don't make no sense. I didn't color coordinate today.
What's up, Mike?
Well, I mean, my coat is primarily blue, red, white, black, gray.
Hey, does anybody remember about several months back, and we still have seen no word of the payback for the said World Series bet that apparently never happened? Can we just get a little atonement? I want you to understand that hasn't gone away. It's still there, Mike. And I'm just asking, that you just be a man of your word and carry through with the bet, tag me in it so you can be properly documented.
Jay, can I ask you something, bro?
Come on, Mike.
Why can't you open your eyes today, sir?
My eyes are open.
I don't know, bro. You look faded off the brown right now, my boy.
Ooh.
Hey,
I don't know if you heard about this because this was a little over 40 minutes ago, but the Rams offensive coordinator, Liam Cohen, has officially returned to his OC job in Kentucky.
Oh, nice.
Probably because he doesn't have any decision. Like,
and Mike, what did you think about that national championship game last night?
Didn't watch it. Didn't care. I knew what was going down. Like, I didn't need to see that. I didn't. It's feel bad for those boys, man. That one lasts forever. 65-7. That's crazy.
Yeah, I like how y'all glossed over my original question from Mike Hughes. I'm not letting it go, Mike. When's it going to happen?
Open your eyes and I'll address it.
I am addressing. My eyes are open.
I am addressing.
Off the ground, off that yak.
Hey, listen, it's 1:30 over here, so I don't want to hear no complaints. I just want to know, Mike. Come on, man. Stop dodging me, man. What are we gonna do?
I'm trying to figure out which one I want to get. I think I'm gonna just get a t-shirt jersey because they're like 30.
Yeah. Stetson Bennett. You think he gets drafted?
No, he's 25. He's not getting drafted. I mean, I think it's unfortunate. It's weird talking about a guy who helped his team win back-to-back national championships and not talking about him getting drafted. He's not even in the conversation. I think that's crazy. He's a talent.
It's really crazy. I mean, honestly, I get he's got national titles, so does Tim Tebow. And, Tebow never really panned out. I don't think Stetson Bennett – I think Stetson Bennett is great for the college game, but I don't know if that game from the college level is going to transfer over to the NFL. I'm just I'm skeptical on it.
Well, let me ask you this, Jay: Is Max Dugan really that much better than Stetson Bennett? Because
if you look at last night's game, if you go by last night's game, that's clearly a no-brainer that he's not. But if you look at the body of work, I would say that he's still in that conversation.
I think there's a conversation as well. Jay and I talked about it on Undisputed, I think a year ago or something. Like, it was a long time ago. The first time Stetson was kind of coming around. It's not a shot at Stetson Bennett, but I also think you're a 25-year-old in your prime. Your prime window years are 25 to 29, and you're playing against a bunch of 19-year-olds who are fresh out of high school. So I'm not sitting here saying that it's undeserved or I'm not taking anything away, but I think he is at a higher advantage that he is older than these guys. He has the number one defense and 5-star wide receivers every single way he looks, and one of the best tight ends in football. That definitely does help to him. And I think him being 6 years older than everybody else, it definitely does help to his advantage. He's in his prime right now.
Oh, absolutely. And I think if you're Stetson Bennett, I'd be looking at guys like Kurt Warner as my inspiration because, look, we all know how old Kurt Warner was when he came into the league. So I feel like if a guy like Kurt Warner can come in, I mean, there's no reason why Stetson can't do it as well.
I actually talked to Gonzo about it. If Gonzo wanted to talk about it more than I did, but I compare him more to a Tom Brady because I don't think he's the most athletic guy like a Kurt Warner. I don't think he has the arm strength. I don't think he has the athleticism, but he definitely is that game manager that's really going to be able to just win championships. He understands what he needs to do to win. He's not going to kill you out of the room with, 60-yard bombs or a Justin Fields 90-yard rushing touchdown, but he definitely understands the way the game goes. So I would watch Tom.
Right. And again, I don't think you have to do the 90-yard bombs or the 90-yard, rushing whatever as a quarterback. I think you just have to be a good steward of not turning the ball over. If you can maintain not turning the ball over and still, make plays left and right, like you said, a 5 or a 10-yard slant or curl, whatever you want to do. And I think you're looking at a good season from him.
Yeah, for sure.
I think sometimes we try to make quarterbacks do too much. They don't, and I think you don't have to do that much. Just facilitate the ball, and you're good.
Yeah, you can't tell me Brock Purdy gets drafted at the very last pick, but not the back-to-back national champion quarterback.
Oh yeah, I'm right there with you. I think Stetson gets bit. I think he gets drafted. I think maybe he starts out as I see him more as a number 2 guy until he can prove himself.
I think
or maybe you just go to a team like Carolina that has nothing, to lose, and maybe you go there and you start your career there.
Gonzo, if it's the last round, 7th round overall, are you taking Stetson Bennett if he's still on the board?
I would. I think he's going to get picked probably in the 4th or 5th round.
You kidding me? God's to take anybody right now, given what he's got. Hey, God's to take anybody.
From Watson, I think somebody will draft him. I know he's 25, but we saw Brandon Whedon get drafted when he was drafted when what? He was 28. So I think he'll get a chance somewhere. I'm not saying he's going to come in and start right away. And I'm not saying he's going to be great in the NFL, but I do think he'll at least get a chance to try to make his way on a team.
You don't think he'll pull a Fromm and just?
Who knows? He might be Mr. Irrelevant this year.
Right. Yeah, except he is fucking Mr. Relevant. He's a 2-time national champion.
Yeah.
Well, he's relevant in the college world. We just don't know how that relevancy is going to carry forward into the NFL. But then again, if Trubisky and guys like Trubisky can be in the NFL, why can't Stetson Bennett? Damn it!
It was an unnecessary shot, sir. Unnecessary shot.
You couldn't finish your college career much better than to go out 2-time national champion.
Yeah, like I said, Tebow was – we all know what Tebow was to college football, and now you see a guy like Stetson Bennett doing back-to-back. So you obviously know what he means to the college game. I just hope that his path to the NFL, is a better path than, Johnny Manziel or, Tim Tebow. Obviously.
We can't compare Stetson Bennett to Johnny Manziel.
Johnny U was still Johnny U up until he took that job with the Browns. Up until he did that job with the Browns, everybody was all over Johnny Manziel. Trust me.
He was. Yeah, I'm saying that's what I'm saying though. He was. Yeah, everybody won them, but he also.
Hey, same thing with Jamarcus Russell, Ryan Leaf, and so
he
forth.
He couldn't quit drinking and doing other things to make a team, to stay on a team.
Well, yeah, and again, that's just where I see Stetson at. I don't know if he's got the complete package to be a starting quarterback, or if he's just going to be another Cooper Rush, which is just a really good, or even a Garner Minshew, where you're just a really good backup quarterback, or maybe even at most a gap field quarterback.
Yeah, I can see that. Carlos Correa signs with the Twins.
That's
News
who I
just
wanted
broke-
as a Ranger. But I'm good with taking it.
News just broke minutes ago. He thought he was going to have the leverage to try to get a lot more money, but something with that physical and that knee, teams don't trust it. But he's still got. What do you end up getting, like an 8-year deal?
Hey, isn't there a biblical story that relates to Carlos Correa? I think there was a story where the son left the family because he thought he could get more money out there, so he took part of that family inheritance and went out into the world, and then he wound up coming back home and looking at his dad and saying, "I'm not worthy of you because I took my inheritance and thought I could make it." Do you think the Twins are looking at Carlos Correa and saying, "Hey, we gave you the bag and you left. Now you want to come back home groveling to those that were feeding you"? Okay.
They gave him
a $100 million contract, 10 years. Let's go.
They gave him a 6-year. They gave him a 6-year, $200 million contract.
Yeah, and a big part of it is if he continues to pass these physicals and everything else, then it's going to be it's around 270 with an additional 4 years, so it could be up to 10.
Wow. Hey, if he gets 6 years, 200 something, whatever it is, $1 million, and I think the Twins even said, "Hey, we don't even want to do a physical. We don't even have to do a physical. Just get out here and start playing." What a time to be alive. Twins they don't care, man. They just want somebody on the field.
Somebody with a big name.
You said what?
Somebody with a big name.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially what they're doing. I mean, if they're willing to take you without a physical, that means that team is hurting, and I think the Twins are hurting. God, poor babies, poor twinsies. Up there roaming the world, don't know what to do with yourself. I still want to see. I'm still curious as to where Trevor Bauer goes. I'm curious to see what team picks him up and offers him something. I still think the Orioles would be a good spot for him to land.
The where?
The Orioles.
Oh yeah, that would be a decent stop.
They need pitching too. So he's right in time, and he won't cost them a whole lot.
I was going to say you're going to be able to get him at a lot cheaper rate than what he used to be for. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's
and that really helps out the Orioles cap to go after and get other people and still upgrade their pin or their starting pitching rotation.
Yeah, I think the Guardians should be back in on him as well. I mean, his career there was kind of short-lived. He obviously made a World Series there. He understands what it takes to get there. But I definitely think he's a totally different player. I'll say this: if this Trevor Bauer was how he was in 2016, the Cubs lose in 4 or 5. Like that's really what it is. Like Trevor Bauer has reached a new level of game since that 2016 stint. So
God knows, this layoff has given that arm more than enough time to rest, relax, recuperate, and come in and do damage.
Yeah, I mean he's still been playing though. He does his little podcast and shows people what he's doing.
Well, what do you do with Bauer? If you bring him in, do you sit him down for like a short, rehab assignment to see where he's at pitching before you bring him on to the actual roster, or what do you do with him? Well, he has been out for 194 games.
But if you sign him now, you have spring training to be able to kind of work him in.
Well, and that's true. I mean, that's true. You do. So.
Yes,
maybe you don't have. Maybe you tell Trevor Bauer, "Hey, go play for Team USA and get some experience that direction too."
I think you just send him for the first month. I think he'd be in AAA. I think that's really what it is. Really, just trying to get him back, get his confidence boost up, go after some kids who can't hit a curveball. Not all of them, but obviously.
Right.
Obviously he'd be at the advantage there. So I think that's definitely what you have to do. Unless spring training goes insanely well. If spring training goes insanely well, then obviously, you think he'll be all right. But Yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be interesting. I think the Yankees should definitely still be in on him because to match the Astros bullpen, you definitely have to do something. So it's going to be interesting to see what they really decide to do. And, another team that I think not a lot of people look at is actually the Giants because, you lost on Judge, you lost on Correa.
They lost a lot, honestly.
You lost everybody.
Yeah, you're right.
You got to replace Carlos Rodon with somebody, and you're not going to replace him with Bauer, but it's definitely better than some random kid you have in your AAA system.
Exactly, and I think, and again, you're going to get Bauer on a discounted rate too. So it's not like you're going to break the bank bringing him in, but it does give you, so like you said, it gives you a good arm, gives you a little bit of depth, and again, you don't have to break the bank to bring this guy in, which I think really suits them well.
And if he gets back to the level he was at,
could you imagine? How old is Bob, by the way? Is he 30?
I believe he's 30, 31, something like that.
I mean, he's right at that cusp of turning 30, or if he hasn't turned 30 already.
Do you see
so he still has at least, 5, 6, 7 years on that arm because he's already taken off almost, a year and a half.
Got no idea. Jay got guys like Verlander and Scherzer live until they're 40. I mean, you never know.
Yeah. Well, that's true. That's true. You're right.
You said he's 31, Gonzo?
Yep, 31.
I fucking knew it.
I think he's got a good 7 to 8 years. I think that's somebody that the Giants could build on. You know what I'm saying? You got to keep him.
Nate, you were going to ask something though?
Do you see the Mets making a move on him?
I don't. I mean, it would have to be like to Jay's point. It would have to be a historically cheap deal. I mean, right. I'm not gonna say they won't, but I mean, you got $800 million on this whole roster. I couldn't see them doing like a $10 million 1 year deal or something like that. Or actually, you know what? Gonzo? They just missed out on Correa. I think they probably definitely could.
I think you got to bring him in on a 1 year prove-it deal just to see where his body's at, see where he's at. And at the end of that 1 year deal, then you look at him and then you formulate a contract off of that. I mean, I don't know if I want to commit too many years right off the first rip until I know what I have in him. And I think that's why I think you start him off with a 1 year.
Listen, man. So Correa's going back to the Twins, right? Yep. Bauer goes back to Cincinnati. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, I wouldn't be mad if he's back in Cincinnati. I don't know if the Reds would do well. And the Reds liked Bauer. They just weren't going to pay him that money. But like when
now you don't got to pay him that money.
When he was at the Reds, like in the clubhouse, the other pitchers loved him. Talked about how he was helping the younger pitchers and stuff. I know in other organizations they say he's been a dickhead and hard to deal with, but I know when he was with the Reds, all the reports was. The locker room loved him, so
you think
I wouldn't be mad at all if they bring him.
I'm not a Trevor Bauer guy. I'm not a Trevor Bauer fan. I do like the fun that he brought to the league, with the sword and everything else. Like that's cool. The talking shit is awesome, but I really heard he was a bad teammate and a bad dude from only one organization, and that was the Dodgers. And I'm not saying that these guys are at fault, but you got a lot of egos and a lot of personalities on that Dodgers team. I mean, you got Mookie Betts, you got Freddie Freeman, you got Justin Turner, you got Clayton Kershaw, you got a bunch of guys who, believe they are the best at their position, and rightfully so. But I do think, you look at it for what it is. Maybe Bauer wasn't as big of a douchebag as everybody says he was. Maybe Bauer was just being Bauer, and these guys just didn't like it. The LA boys, they kind of soft. So I don't think they really rock with Bauer being a little bit more vocal than you think. Like, I love this, my guy, top right corner right here. He hasn't opened his eyes all episode. He's got a clean fade on right now. I love Jay McLovin. But I tell you what, if I took Jay McLovin to a Christian Bible camp, it would be a bad time. But
well, first of all, your hands might burn the minute they touch the Bible. You got some.
Hey, that's a whole different conversation. I'm not even allowed inside. But all I'm saying is, Jay is a great dude, and I love Jay. Jay fits.
I appreciate that.
I love what Jay does, and people love what Jay does. But there's the people who are like, you have to be a certain way to engage with them, and you can't really communicate with people like that. And I feel like that's what the Dodgers organization really is. It's one way or no way. You can't speak out. You can't be vocal. You can't be fun. You kind of just have to play. And the Yankees are kind of the same way. You have to be a certain way. Kind of like a robot. It's literally like you're working a 9-to-5 job and you're playing a kid's game. It's to me like that's why I like Bauer. Is like if he wants to call you a bitch, he's gonna say it, and that's what. And whether we're teammates or not, bro, like you're gonna hear it. And I'm kind of the same way in that conversation.
Yeah.
Like, if I like you, it's cool, but I'm gonna let it be known if I have an opinion about something. And that's really the only thing I think Bauer does is let his opinions be known, and that's kind of why he's off this Dodger squad.
Yeah, because you're right. You never heard nothing about him being a bad guy when he was in Cleveland. And like I said, I follow the Reds. Everybody there always talked about how they loved him being in the club.
I met him in when I was grounds crew with the Cubs. I met him. He came in kind of early. He did his little podcast. It was a really cool podcast. It was about so we're hosers, right? And what we do is, if there's giant fire hoses at the top of the field, at the top of the stadium, and we go into every section and every row, and we actually hose down the seats and we hose down the floor, so all the trash goes all the way to the bottom, and we have partners and we link up in the middle. It's a whole thing, but only 2 teams do it in the league, and it's originally how every team used to do it, and now only 2 teams do it the same way. It's the Dodgers and it's the Cubs, and he did a whole thing about that, and the grounds crew loved it. Everybody loved him talking about it, and I've never met him. I don't know how he is in a romantic relationship. I don't know how he is as a friend or a teammate. But as the guy himself, I had a great first response and a great first impression with him. He also helped my Cubs win the World Series, so he's always.
I just think Bauer's got himself probably caught up with a woman that wanted to do some stuff, and he went in with it, and then that's the thing. hey, that's why you have to have contracts signed. You have to have a lot of things that back up. If a woman wants you to do things that could be considered controversial, number one, you should think to yourself, number one, should I do it? And number 2, if you are going to do it, you should have witnesses. You should have contracts. There should be something that protects your ass.
I should have witnesses.
You know what I'm saying? Huh?
I got you, Jay. Next time I'll have witnesses. I got you.
Hey, listen. Hey, listen, when I got that kind of money, I'll put on a show. I don't care. It might be about 5 minutes, but it'll be the best 5 minutes of your life.
I hate you.
Chris was at a wrestling show. We were talking about
Hey, yeah, that actually happened Sunday at the wrestling show. Somebody was talking about watching our baseball show in the morning. Was talking about Jay.
That's because they know Jay's full of shit, man. Jay's full of shit. No, but for real though, I mean, you gotta be a really bad individual for a team who, let's be honest, the Dodgers can certainly use quite a bit of pitching help, given the fact that Buehler was hurt. Kershaw's always hurt. They have a lot of injuries with that starting rotation. That a guy like Bauer could definitely spark some interest, with that team. And the fact that you're willing to let him walk because of his reputation, I don't know, man. To me, there's a lot of red flags, Mike, that come up when I see something like that. You know what I mean?
Listen, I think there's a lot of conversations about guys getting a second chance, and I come from a city. And I come from a world where I know guys I grew up with who are some of the greatest people I've ever met in my life who just made horrible choices for one night of their life or, got in with the wrong people. It doesn't make them bad people. It doesn't make them, extradited or, you have to put them in this little bubble and they're here for the rest of their lives. And I'm not saying you're saying that, but I'm just saying the cancel culture that is the case of Trevor Bauer is
right.
Really wild to me, especially with them kind of figuring out that he really didn't do anything wrong from a law standpoint. Whether you believe that's your personal opinion or not, that's cool, but he's obviously not in jail, he's not incarcerated, he wasn't charged with anything. So I mean, for me, you can't sit here and tell me if I'm Trevor Bauer, we think you're a douchebag and yeah, you did a crime that you didn't commit. So it's like, well, that's cool. But if I could still do this job and I can do this job at a very high level, I believe he has a spot in the MLB. And I believe that with anybody, white, black, brown, whatever,
Right.
male, female, like if you can do the job and you aren't guilty of a crime and you're not going to be like Adam Sandler in The Longest Yard, like as long as you're available, he should have the job.
And that's true, Mike, because I feel like, yeah, what he did, it was obviously wasn't a good thing.
It was stupid.
But again, I wonder how much of that was was it? Was it consensual at one point and then it became unconsensual after the fact? I mean, I don't know all the details of that. Nobody really knows except for those two. But what I will say is this: you got athletes out there that are, have been, like the Ben Roethlisbergers, where they've had rape allegations, and then you have, Deshaun Watson and the 26, 27 women that have come against him. There's a lot of athletes that have had things like this go on in their lives, and they've been hell. You even had freaking Michael Vick go through that whole dog scandal ring thing, and he was able to resurrect his career and get it back.
Oh yeah, I hear you, but he did that shit. Like he actually did that.
No, but what I'm saying is,
my man's went to prison, Jay. Not jail. My man's went to prison.
I get it, but you know what I'm saying. Like, but I'm saying is, as a culture, if a guy can come back from that,
right,
why can't Trevor Bauer come back from this? You know what I mean?
Jay, there's still people that anytime Michael Vick is up for award or up for something that still protesting against.
Oh yeah, that's always going to be there.
He got back in the league.
He's just not going away.
No, but I agree with what Mike's saying. That's what I think one of the biggest problems with society today is that it's like people get happy. They get happy to see other people get in trouble or to be able to cancel somebody. No, America's always supposed to be the land of second chances, where anybody can get a chance, and if you make a mistake, you have a chance to come back from it. But for some reason
that's the thing, right?
People are look for reasons to try to bury people.
Mm-hmm. And we are in a very politically sensitive environment these days. I mean, everything is under a microscope. So everything that was once this way now is so personified now. I mean, hell, I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't even want to get on an email at this point if I was in a professional career. Because
I kind of live by this thing, not to get like too off topic, but I say it every single day I wake up. If someone were to try to cancel me or use something that I did when I was 15, there's nothing. You can look. But if you're trying to look for something, I did or something somebody did or someone I know, I live by this thing, and especially Jay knows. Jay's been to Chicago. I think, I just embody who I am, and I am who I am, and you're just going to have to feel me. And it's really what it comes down to at the end of the day is I don't care if you try to cancel me because I'm Dave Chappelle in this bitch. Like, I ain't going anywhere. I'm going to be doing what I'm going to do, and you just going to have to deal with it because it's the allowance of, you trying to sit here and tell me, oh yeah, you're not on social media anymore. That's cool. I'm going to go find something else to do, and I'm going to do it. And it's going to be dope. And my people are going to follow me because my people know me. And I think that's the best version of what you can really do. Yeah. There are some people who deserve to be canceled. Some people are jagoffs. But, there's definitely conversations where it's just like, we're just canceling anybody for anything. Like, Gonzo, I don't like your hat.
Well, even take a guy like Pete Rose, right? Take Pete Rose, for example. Pete Rose wrote a letter to the commish saying, yo, look, I was wrong. I'm acknowledging I was wrong. I'm trying to make amends for what I did. What can I do? All the right things. He's doing all these things, and yet we still don't want to give even guys like him an opportunity to make a second chance, to make a comeback and let him in the Hall of Fame and these kinds of things. And, we're out here talking about the Roger Clemens and the Barry Bonds and the whole steroid era and things like that. And should they be allowed in? Should they not be allowed in? But I think if you atone for your decisions, if you atone for the things that you do, you should be allowed in. And I'm going to tell you right now, if they let Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens in before they let Pete Rose in, I got a big problem with that, especially that Pete Rose wrote a letter acknowledging all of the things that he did wrong. And I've yet to see anything from Roger Clemens or Barry Bonds or anybody for that matter that says that they did what they did was wrong. So I got a problem with that if they allow that to come in.
Damn it, Mickey. That was actually pretty funny.
Damn. Yeah, Frankie does piss people off sometimes. No, him and Pride they're cut from the same cloth.
Oh,
sometimes.
No. I know Frankie and Pride both. Trust me, they're cut from the same cloth. To the point where I'm not sure that they're not blood related at some level.
like yesterday.
Man, what a time to be alive.
What he said about me, I said that I haven't made a appearance on Unscripted before, and he said I have to have a good team to actually make a guest appearance on Unscripted.
You said what?
Yesterday, I said that I haven't made a guest appearance on Unscripted before, and he said you actually have to root for a good team in order to make an appearance on Unscripted. The funny thing about that is that he's a Lakers fan, and they lost to my Nuggets yesterday.
Hey, Nate, you can go on Unscripted anytime you want. Just let me know when you want to come on, man. Trust me, I'll get you on. Shit.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson. What?
What's up with Lamar?
He says, "What does this mean for Lamar?" He's talking about that the Ravens just agreed to a $100 million 5-year, $100 million contract extension with Roquan Smith.
Yeah, and I think we knew they were going to do that. I think everybody knew that Roquan was going to get dealt with first, and then they were going to turn their attention over to Lamar because they knew that they could franchise Lamar if they had to one more year before they had to deal with him, which allowed them to get Roquan under contract.
Hey, Jay, they can franchise him 2 years. They haven't franchised him at all yet, so they still can franchise him twice.
I get what they're doing because they want to get all the other pieces in alignment first before they go after Lamar. But if I'm Lamar, I'm telling them, I'm like, how many years do I got to ride this 1 year deal crap? Because honestly, with the 1 year deal, very little guaranteed money, I don't know if I feel comfortable with that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I want to jeopardize what I'm doing to take on that type of risk reward value.
If they franchise tag him, he'll make like 45, right around 45, 50 million this year.
No, I get that. But the problem with that is what if you have a career-ending injury?
Oh, no.
But you see what I'm saying? Because worst case scenario, if you get a 10-year or a 6-year with, the majority of it guaranteed, that even if you have a tragic career-ending injury, hey, guess what? I'm still going to get my paid. I'm still going to get my paycheck. I feel like when you go out there on these 1 year deals, $50 million is a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, $45 million is a lot of money. But when you're looking at the bigger picture, he's really taking a bigger risk. I think I sit until they give me what I want, and then I'll play again.
Only thing is, if they really wanted to play hardball with you, you wouldn't play for like 2 years.
I mean, and that's always a possibility. That's
that's a lot of time. That's a lot of time to be sitting out.
Oh no, I agree. I think we have to weigh the pros and the cons.
Yeah.
Okay, I go out and I play that 1 year, $45 million deal. I tear, both my MCL, PCL, MCL, ACL, whatever ligament you're looking at, and then they say, "Hey, look, you come back, but you're not ever going to be where you were. You're going to be hampered quite a bit." You got to imagine teams are then going to start, if he is able to play football, that his contract money, number one, would go down. And number two, if he can't play, now they're looking at 1 year prove-it deals for vet minimum. I don't know. There's a lot of inherent risk when I'm getting at with him playing on the 1 year negotiated, tag versus not playing and then waiting for the right deal to come along.
Oh, no, I agree. I understand why he wants to get a deal, but I see what the Ravens are kind of doing as well, but you're talking about sitting out next season. From what I'm hearing, he might sit out the playoffs.
Yeah, nobody likes to see anybody sit out, but sometimes, again, everybody says it.
Here's my thing. Let me ask you this.
If football is a business, though, it's a business,
Yeah.
so you have to look at what's the best, business move for Lamar.
Well, I understand that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I understand that. But let me ask you this: say he's cleared and he's healthy, and they say he can play in this playoff game, and he doesn't play because he don't have a deal. What's that do? What could he come back to Baltimore? Because what's that do to the locker room when you have your teammates that are getting ready for a playoff game? You sit out that playoff game and don't play, and then what's that going to do to the locker room next season?
I think if I'm Lamar, I'm gonna finish. Number one, I'm gonna have a closed door meeting with my teammates, and I'm gonna tell them. I'm gonna say, "Hey, look, here's the deal, guys. I'm gonna finish this year out because it's not fair to you guys that you don't have the best of where you need the best to be. I'm gonna play out this year, fellas, but I'm gonna tell you right now, if they don't get this deal negotiated before the season begins next year, I said I'm gonna sit out the year. I'm gonna do what I got to do." And I think I talk to my teammates. I make that inherently clear, and I tell ownership as well.
I think if you do it at the beginning of the year, it's not as your teammates understand, and so they're not going to even question
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think you honor that commitment, and you finish out this season, and then you deal with the rest of it the next upcoming, and you go from there.
Yeah, if he decides like next season to sit out, I don't think his teammates would have an issue with it. But when you played most this season, and then you had this injury and you set out, and then you decide not to come back for the playoffs if you're healthy, I think that could rub some teammates the wrong way. I think he's going to play in the playoffs. I know a lot of people don't think he'll ever play for Baltimore again.
He's going to play for Baltimore again. They're not going to let that man walk away.
I don't see where else he would be able to go. If they did let him walk, which I don't think is going to happen, where would he go?
Oh, there'd be teams that would take him. Definitely.
Oh, there'd be a lot of teams that would take him. I mean, you got what? Carolina? Oh, Carolina would definitely take him. And then what else you got? You got Houston, and then you got what? New Orleans. Because if you haven't noticed, they haven't exactly played Winston a whole hell of a lot.
I can see New Orleans, but I don't.
We have New Orleans. Hey, he can always go up there and team up with
the Jets.
The Jets. Hell, there's Indianapolis. There's a lot. Hey, he's going to have a lot of teams to choose from next year. Trust me. He won't have a problem with that.
If he becomes available, yeah.
Then if he becomes available, then what do the Colts do with their number 5 pick? Offensive line? Maybe. Or if you do take Dallas, no. Hey, Tony. No, Tony. No.
Here's a thought I just thought about. What about Lamar to Seattle?
Jay, let me ask you this real quick before that. Who would you rather have, Lamar Jackson or Dak Prescott?
And I'll tell you why. It's going to sound crazy, but I would still take Dak. I'm going to tell you why.
Ooh.
I'm going to tell you why. Because Dak's issue, his biggest issue is taking care of the ball. Right? That's his biggest issue. We all know that. We all know that he's interception prone. But I think he can fix that. I think he's a mobile quarterback, but he allows Pollard to do Pollard-like things. He has a good access of his weapons, CeeDee Lamb, getting the guys involved. I like his passing game, his running game. Yes, is Lamar a better overall athlete? Of course he is. Of course he is. You don't have legs like that and get those rushing yards if you're not a playmaker. But I think what I like about what Dak brings to Dallas is he gives a more balanced approach with the offense rather than it becoming maybe a little bit too one-dimensional. And I think Lamar Jackson on the Cowboys would make that team more one-dimensional, and I don't think it would flow as nice as people would think. Somebody's muted.
I disagree with you. I think if you put Lamar Jackson on Dallas, that the offense would be even more explosive because now Lamar Jackson actually has some weapons to get the ball to that he hasn't had in Baltimore.
Now here's a team I just thought about. What if you put Lamar Jackson on Seahawks? They have that number two.
Why are you gonna give up on Geno when Geno's got you in the playoffs? Geno's actually got you in the playoffs, and he's playing at a pretty freaking good level right now. Why would you want to go in there and mess that up?
Yeah, but Lamar's.
You say but again, come on, man. You got to look at the overall.
I kind of agree with Nate. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Seattle would be in on it either. You got to remember.
I'm not saying that they won't make a move because Lamar Jackson's name has Lamar Jackson's name, but just because that's what they're gonna do doesn't mean that's what they should do.
I would take it. I would take Lamar over Geno Smith.
I would too.
Geno Smith.
Hey, listen. Hey, watch this. You know what? And that's what.
He's played one good year. How many good? Geno Smith played one. Well, let me finish. Geno Smith played one good year in the NFL. How many good years has Lamar Jackson had in the NFL? He's been a league MVP. You're telling me you wouldn't take a former league MVP in your prime over Geno Smith that's had one good season?
Yeah,
and I'm not taking nothing away from Geno Smith because he had a good season this year, but look how many years it took him in the league to have a good season. You're telling me that you would automatically just choose him over Lamar?
I'll tell you this. I know this is a concrete fact. I beat Nate in fantasy football. I beat you in fantasy football. Maybe my carry a little bit. No. Maybe my opinion should carry a little bit more weight right now. Maybe my opinion should carry a little bit more weight right now.
Hey, yeah, it's coming from the guy that thought TCU
I finished.
Coming from the guy that thought TCU was going to beat Georgia last night, but his opinion.
Hey. You put my heart.
The Commanders could be a team that.
The Commanders could be a team. I know they're definitely not sold on Wentz. They're definitely not sold on Heineke. And I don't think Howell is the guy that's going to get it done for you. So, yeah.
I don't know. He got it done against Dallas.
I will say, okay, so I am going to say, I'm going to make an argument that is going to sound a little crazy. Maybe not for Jay, but sounds a little bit crazy. I think Dallas getting destroyed in Week 18 is what the Cowboys needed.
Wait, say that again?
I think that Dallas getting destroyed last week is what Dallas needed heading into this week.
Yeah. Dak's definitely going to have to protect the ball a lot better than he did against the Commanders. I think we saw those interceptions that the Commanders made off of Dak. I think at one point he threw the ball. The defender missed the interception, hit him right in the hands, missed the interception. What does Dak do? He goes back to the same guy, and then the guy gets the interception. So, again, I don't know where Cowboys play calling is all the time, but I'm not – that's the two biggest things I have with Dallas is, number one, play calling, and number two, Dak's ability to not
protect the ball. And I agree with you, but I'm saying it more because, well, unless you're talking about my broadcast partner on Sports Status, Cole, I haven't been seeing a lot of like Cowboys fans saying, "Hey, we're going to the Super Bowl. Hey, we're doing this." I haven't been seeing a lot of that, and I'm not saying that's what you normally do. I'm not saying any of that, but I have been seeing on the internet after the Eagles game, after the success that they've been having the past 4 weeks, I have been seeing a lot of that. Now, it's dead quiet. They're going into Tampa Bay, and I just feel like it's going to be either A, going to go really wrong for Dallas, or B, going really wrong for Tampa, and I'm leaning more towards B.
When it comes to Dallas, man, like I said, Dallas, if you really look at Dallas's squad, again, if you can correct the play calling, if Dak can protect the ball a little bit better and not, turn the ball over as much, if you can fix those two issues, Dallas Cowboys could go to the Super Bowl, bar none.
I don't think they're going to the Super Bowl.
Listen.
Tampa
I'm telling you that if Dak Prescott didn't commit so many turnovers.
Yeah.
And if their play calling was better from Mike McCarthy and Kellen Moore, that team could go to the Super Bowl. They could. They got everything they need. They got the running backs. They got the O-line. They got the receivers. They got the defensive units. They got the secondary. They got everything they need. They just need Dak to take better care of the ball and for McCarthy and them to put a little bit more motion in their offense to keep the defense off of Dak Prescott's Katukas. So, but yeah, that's the biggest thing. What version of Dak are you going to get?
In fact, I'm going to give a score prediction. I don't think it's going to be close. I think Dallas wins 40-3.
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't know if hey, that's a lot better than I was giving them, but at the same time, I think Tampa is in a very weird spot right now. They lost a little bit off their defense. They're not the same defensive team they used to be. They've lost a little bit off of that offensive line, which is putting pressure on Tom Brady, which is basically keeping him from being able to do what Tom Brady does, which Tom Brady is a prototypical pocket passer. If you give him time, he'll exploit you. If you don't give him time, he'll go down in a ball of flames. It just depends on how you go out and play Tom Brady. And Tom Brady can be beat this year. I think we've seen that already. But Dallas has to put pressure on Tom Brady, and Dak has got to not turn over the ball. If they can do those two things, yeah, I think I see what you're saying, Nate. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've got to go back to the way they were playing earlier this year. I totally agree with you on that. I absolutely agree with you on that. They have got to. And I think a lot of that comes maybe with the way Dan Quinn is using Marcus, what's his face? Micah Parsons. The way he's using Micah Parsons. Micah is a very unique guy. You can put him at the end. You can put him at the linebacker. You can put him at damn near even safety. And he can play all three spots. So I want to see them use Micah Parsons a lot more in those disguise roles and let him play naturally. I think he's like a Michael Strahan. You know, New York never had a guy to Michael Strahan. They let Michael Strahan just do what Michael Strahan does. And of course, you saw how well his career turned out. And I think the same thing goes with Micah Parsons. I think you don't put a leash on him. You let him, flow movably and let him do what he does. I think he's going to keep surprising us.
No, I'm ready for playoffs. I'm ready for Saturday to get here because now
heck yeah,
college football is over. So I mean, you got NBA in the evening, but NBA this time of the year is a little harder to watch all the time than as you get later in the season, like after the All-Star break. But in the NBA, we did have some big news last night. Kevin Durant could be out over a month with I think it's a knee injury. How's that going to affect the Nets, who have been on a roll? Seems like everybody's been focused on basketball. You haven't heard Irving doing anything stupid. Now you have Durant going out. Will Irving and Simmons and company be able to keep the Nets afloat while he's gone for about a month?
I don't think it's going to be as bad as it was, but I do think that's going to answer your question, no, but I think it would be better than last year. Because I like the coach. I really like the coach for the Nets this year over what they had in Steve Nash.
Yeah, no, I agree. They got better coaches this year. What do you think, Jay?
Well, I think this is where Kyrie Irving has to step up his play. Not having Durant there is clearly going to put a big void on this team. And I think if they want to continue to have that success, Kyrie Irving has got to come out and play Kyrie Irving basketball, and don't let there be any distractions. Don't try to do more than what you need to. Just play Kyrie Irving ball, facilitate it, let Ben Simmons get your rebounds and assists. You're gonna lose a little score. You're gonna obviously lose some scoring because of Durant, But again, that team under Jack Vaughn, they seem to buy into his style of leadership and his style of play. And I think what got them where they are now is the fact that the team buys into Jack Vaughn. The team never bought into Steve Nash. And Steve Nash kind of got the raw end of that Brooklyn Nets deal because obviously Durant and Kyrie Irving saying they don't need Kevin Nash, that they can coach this team and still win. Clearly, we saw that wasn't the case, that you do need a leadership role. And I think that Steve Nash needs to get another opportunity to play in the NBA again as a coach, obviously. He deserves a second chance. He needs to be an assistant coach somewhere like a Popovich or, somebody like that has a lot of a Rick Carlisle, whatever, and get that tutelage under a head coach and then, come back out again and take over another team at a later point.
Yeah. Then with the Lakers, you have LeBron. Yeah, son of a bitch. Son of a bitch.
Boy,
but anyway,
we went for the throats and that thing. Damn.
Now you have LeBron James. Son of a bitch. You have LeBron James out. Anthony Davis has already been out. Lakers were starting to make a little bit of a push, trying to act like they were going to turn things around. I still don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but especially if they can't keep LeBron on the court. You already got AD out with that stress fracture. But do you see any way?
That's a whole other word deal, isn't it? That whole issue in LA.
Whew. You think the Lakers are going? You think the Lakers are going to make the playoffs?
No,
they'll be able to stay healthy.
No, I don't think. Me personally, I don't think they make the playoffs. I think there's still some pieces away. The Lakers need to start making some trades, and at some point, I think you have to let go of AD. I know that they want to keep him there, but I think AD his injury and his availability status. I think you need to start working on getting some draft collateral and bringing some more draft picks around. Even if not free agents, right? I think you could bring a Miles Turner, a Buddy Hield, and start to form a team.
Whoa.
Why? You'll get AD. You're good. You'll get Anthony Davis.
Why you trying to take?
Hey, listen. You just stay over there and look pretty, okay? Just look pretty. God. But no, man. I mean, think about it. At some point, they've got to trade AD and start building up their war chest.
I think they should trade AD and LeBron.
You said what now?
I think they should move on from AD and LeBron. I think they're going to have to move on.
I mean, I agree. I'm not upset at you for saying that. I've been saying that too. I said, look, they got draft capital worthiness. You can get back your draft capital and then start to rebuild. I hate to use that word for LA. But maybe it's time you go into rebuild mode and start rebuilding again through your draft.
Just don't send. I just don't want them. Don't mess with the Pacers team. The Pacers team is looking good this year. We're actually.
Oh, I hope they mess with it. I hope Miles Turner and he'll go. And you get AD. Woo! Man, Nate's over there thinking like, oh hell no.
No.
Hey, listen, I want James Harden back as much as you want AD there, okay?
I thought you were a James Harden fan.
Man, hey, no. I was an old school James Harden fan back when he was with the Rockets, and he was actually doing pretty well. But this new version of whatever is out there, no, you can keep this new version of Harden. Just keep him out there at Philadelphia and let him do that kind of thing. Speaking of which, are the Bucks? I mean, not the Bucks. Are the 76ers? How are they going to be as we get closer to time for the playoffs? Do you have them making some noise? Because I still think they got some issues over there.
Who?
With that team, the 76ers.
Oh yeah, 76ers. Yeah.
There's no doubt they're going to be in the playoffs. Yeah, there's no doubt they're going to be in the playoffs, but how far do you think they go in the playoffs?
First round exit. No.
I mean, but seriously,
I don't
though,
think-
I mean, if you can't keep Embiid healthy, it could be a first round exit, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to make a deep playoff run. First of all, I think they need a new coach. I'm surprised. I'm surprised that they. Excuse me. I'm surprised that they hadn't moved on from Rivers already. I think the way he kind of handled that situation with Simmons and some of the other stuff he's handled, and the way they performed in the playoffs, I'm surprised Rivers is still there as coach. But Embiid, there's so much question about his health a lot of times, and I just don't know if they have enough around Embiid right now for them to make a deep playoff run in the East. I mean, the East, you have some pretty good teams. The Cavs are looking good with Donovan Mitchell leading the way. You have Boston. You have the Nets, the Bucks. There's quite a few teams that are looking pretty good, and I just don't think the Sixers can compete with them teams.
I think they're going to be like a 6 seed team.
Interesting.
People, they said, what should the Bears do with the number one pick? And the guy saying they should draft Bryce Young and trade Justin Fields.
You know, I mean, if you're ready to give up on Fields at this point, you would. But I don't think I give up on Fields. He's doing everything on the ground he can do. I think at some point you got to stop trying to find a quarterback and start trying to find an O-line to protect the quarterback that you have. So I don't think they need to move on from Fields. I think they need to continue to rebuild that offensive line.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't move on from Fields either. I'd try to put an offensive line around them. Bears have some money, bring in some defensive players. So
I mean, truthfully, if I'm the Bears, I think I'd try to trade out of the number one spot, trade back in the number one spot from the number one spot, and then pick up my offensive lineman and the things that I need there, because you don't need the number one spot to get the guy that you want, because we all know who's going to go the top 5. Offensive linemen are not in the top 5. So I don't think you have – unless you just really want Will Anderson, and if that's the case – then just trade back to number 3, offer it up to Seattle, tell Seattle you want the 3 and the 12. Gonzo, we talked about this. Give him the 3 and the 12 for that number 1 pick, and then you can take Anderson at 3, and you can come back and get an offensive lineman at 12, and I think you're doing pretty damn well.
Now, there's one team I have in mind that I could think they should be making a call if Chicago wants to go ahead and trade Justin, and I think that should be Miami. But I don't know who they would give up.
Well, okay. So for Chicago, yeah, I don't know. I don't think they would have what they would want to give up either, because Chicago is probably going to want either draft picks. Well, and they could. I mean, what is Miami drafting right now in this draft? They got to
have
be
their draft pick forfeited.
Oh, that's right. They had to forfeit that pick. God, it sucks
They
to be
do
Miami.
have some second round, maybe go into next year's draft and say, hey,
yeah, but you're not going to trade second round picks for a first rounder. I think if I'm Chicago, the only one I'm talking to, honestly, would be Seattle. And I would tell Seattle, you give me your number 1s this year, and I'll give you the number 1 this year. And I think, and then Seattle could take the cream of the crop that they want to be their quarterback, Bryce Young, Stroud, whatever, God. It sounds like draft day. All I need is that guy from Jacksonville to screw this up. He doesn't have the number 6 pick. I do, and I want all my number 1s back. All of them. You pancake-eating son of a bitch.
Yeah, that was funny. He said, The deal that was available 2 minutes ago no longer exists.
It's no longer. I love that.
We live in a different time period now.
we do live in a different time period. Hey, let me ask you this: how many you guys just have? Is it just 1 pick, the number 5 pick, or do you have 2 number 1s?
I think we just have the 1 number 1, but we have a real early second round pick.
I think if I'm the Colts, if C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young is available at 5, I think I'd go with the quarterback. Oh yeah, you guys are at 4. You're drafting 4 now.
Yep.
You were drafted 5. Okay, so think about it. So if you're Chicago, if you don't trade out of it, you're probably not taking a quarterback. You're probably going to go to defense. So I would think maybe that would be one defensive guy. That'd probably be Anderson off the board at 1. And then Houston's going to take a quarterback. So that would probably be your first quarterback off the board would be at number 2. Number 3, I don't know who has number 3. Oh, no, Seattle has number 3. So then maybe doesn't Seattle have 3?
Seattle used to have 3, but they don't because Denver beat the Chargers.
So where's Seattle drafted now? Seattle's at 5?
Yeah, I think so.
Who's at 3?
I want to say it's the Colts.
No, Colts are at 4.
Colts are 4. Okay, then maybe Arizona?
Yeah, that's who it is. Arizona's at 3. Because my son was talking about it earlier.
Well, Arizona's not going for a quarterback. They got Kyler Murray. Houston will go for a quarterback. Chicago won't. So yeah, you could get either Stroud, you could get Stroud or Bryce Young, depending on who Houston takes at number 2. So you very well could get that quarterback, and you most likely will get that quarterback at number 3. If I'm you, I think or number 4. I'm sorry. I think I do take a quarterback at 4, and I'm going to take either Stroud or Bryce Young, depending on who falls into my lap. And if I don't get Bryce Young, and I don't get C.J. Stroud, for whatever reason, if that's off the board before I draft, then maybe I'll start looking to draft out of the number 3 spot, pick up another couple of number 1s, maybe go back a little bit for an offensive lineman, try to get another first-round pick in it. And if I could do that, then maybe I get 2 offensive linemen or 1 offensive lineman and 1 wide receiver. And then you go for the second round where probably like a Max Duggan would be there and a few other guys. Maybe Richardson might be there. But I think you have another option at Max Duggan in that second round that you can see what you can get out of him.
Yeah. I think it's going to depend on who the coach is.
There's definitely options for the Colts, though, right?
I think it depends on who they hire as coach, but I can see the Colts moving back and trying to find a quarterback in free agency again, and then
if you don't get the quarterback you want by 4, then I think you do trade back.
And here's my thing: worst thing that can happen is you suck again this year, and then maybe next year you can get Caleb Williams.
Oh, no, that's true. You suck again, God.
Greg said, "Who's your coach of the year in the NFL?"
God, there's a lot. Dable for me.
Definitely not Nathaniel Hackett. Oh.
Hey, that's who you wanted. That was your guy that was going to take you to the promised land. Remember?
I agree with Greg here. I would say Brian Dable.
And I'd probably put Peterson at number 2.
I would go with Dable, but I'd have Peterson right there as well because the way with what he's done in Jacksonville, I know they don't have as good a record as the Giants, but they've had a good season, and you look at the turnaround that Trevor Lawrence has had. But I say Brian Dable has to be coach of the year, just the turnaround. He's won more games this season with the Giants, and the Giants have won in a couple of years.
Your dad said Jeff Saturday. But you know what else we're overlooking too is I think Saleh, however you say it, his name up there with the Jets. I think he's done a good job. I think he's done a good job with this Jets team and turning that team around.
Yes, Ron's done a good job.
And Campbell, look what Campbell's done with Detroit. I mean, look where Detroit was, and look how they almost made it in. They almost made it into the playoffs.
Yeah, well, here's another one that's a good one. Mike Tomlin.
Fuck Mike Tomlin. Fuck Mike Tomlin. Nothing against Mike. Mike, I love you, man. Don't get it twisted, but you've been there for a long time. And he's only got 1 Super Bowl.
Yeah, but he's never had a losing record.
And I don't like the Trubisky thing. I don't know. I just, Tomlin has not done a whole lot to improve that team before Big Ben's departure or even after Big Ben's departure. I get they almost scraped in and got into the playoffs, but almost isn't actually it. It's almost. And
Yeah,
so that's
but
why I say
it's also
that's why I
another-
don't think Mike Tomlin. I
I
don't.
don't think he would get it. I don't think he's going to get coach of the year, but I'm saying he's had a hell of a, I mean, he coached a good season this
Hey, you
year.
know who else has done a
He
good
got
job?
Pittsburgh team
Hey,
to 9-8.
look what Pete Carroll did with Seattle. Geno freaking Smith. Geno Smith. Geno, let that resonate. Geno Smith. How do you not put him in that? I don't know, man. I mean, he's got to be somewhere in there to resurrect his career and get him back into the playoffs. Playoffs? We had Seattle finishing dead last in a lot of people's power rankings before the season even started.
No, Pete's done good this season. And you've had a lot of teams turn their teams around this season, like the Giants, Seattle, the Jags. You know, some of the teams you usually don't think of are actually starting to move up. So, and that's going to make the NFL even better. Dad says the Eagles coach. They had a great record, but they made the playoffs last year, so I wouldn't give it to him before some other guys.
Yeah,
but the Eagles
and
coach Sirianni has done a good job.
I think part of the reason for their better record is because of AJ Brown.
Well, AJ Brown certainly has helped them. I think a lot of it is just the improved quality of play on that defense. That defense has really stepped up and did some pretty good things over there. Matter of fact, I think a couple of them have like around 10 sacks or so. So they're definitely doing well on getting the sacks. They're definitely getting well on getting pressure on the quarterback, and they've done a pretty good job on that run defense as well. So I do think AJ Brown was a quintessential factor, but don't overlook guys like Godare, however you say his name, and that defense, and Miles Sanders at that running game. I mean, they're all doing, just really good stuff over there with the Eagles, man, honestly. And the play of Jalen Hurts in his second year is just, he just gets better year after year. So, yeah. And a lot of it probably is due to that head coach. He's got them in the right headspace. He's making the right moves. So there's a lot to be said for that.
Yes.
What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive, Nate. How about them Denver Broncos, huh? How about them Denver Broncos? Jeez Louise, man. How do you feel about your quarterback?
Well, I mean, we were actually able to stay competitive in the last two games after Nathaniel Hackett has been fired.
Yeah.
So in your opinion, you think it was more Hackett than Wilson?
Oh, it's not my opinion. I know it's Hackett, it's not Wilson.
No, but and now there's even rumors where Hackett is trying to get back on with Green Bay or possibly trying to get back on
I
with
wouldn't be
Green Bay.
surprised if he don't go back to Green Bay, especially if Rodgers comes back, because him and Rodgers got along real well.
I think the reason Hackett is they're trying to get Hackett back to Green Bay is so that Rodgers can come back. They're trying to get Rodgers to come back, so the way they do that is through Hackett.
It could be. I don't think Rodgers is going to retire. I think he's going to play, so it's not going to surprise me if he's back in Green Bay at all.
I think he's going to retire, but I don't think they're going to just let him. I think they're going to try to convince him to stay.
Yes,
I think he stays. I definitely think he stays. Now, how well they do or how well they go, because and that wide receiving court is young, and Watson did show signs of.
Watson started to show.
You know what I'm saying? If they get Watson highly involved, oh my God!
Yeah, I think
he's going to be Tyreek Hill, a taller version of Tyreek Hill for them.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's going to be a real good weapon for them in the future. Greg said, I love beating Denver every year.
Poor Nate. Nate can't say that. All he can do is just take the abuse. Take it in, Nate. Take in the abuse. It's okay. It's okay, Nate.
Do you think this year's NFL playoffs are going to be one of the better playoffs we've seen since there's
Yes.
you really don't have a clear like a real clear cut favorite.
Oh, it's going to be
a lot of different teams that could end up winning the Super Bowl this year. I think it's going to be a great playoffs to watch.
Oh, hell yeah, it's going to be better, man. Because now that, like you said, just for that fact, there's no clear cut. Anybody in this league can get it if they want it. There's no clear cut, and that's what I love the most about it. I'll be honest with you. The way Dallas played, now granted, it's Gardner Minshew, so don't take it too much what I'm saying. But even with Gardner Minshew, when they played Dallas Cowboys, Gardner played – look, people don't understand. Gardner played a good game. Go back and look at Gardner's stats. He had a phenomenally good game. So I think that the Cowboys can – we can match up with the Eagles. Now, again, I cannot have penalties in the first half like they did with the 49ers when the 49ers won. I certainly can't have the turnovers that, again, we've seen from Dak Prescott. And play calling has got to be on point if they want to be able to beat the teams like the Eagles and things like that.
I go on to Damien's topic here, Bills-Eagles. I agree with Philadelphia, although I don't think Buffalo is going to make it. I think it's going to be Cincinnati, Philadelphia for the Super Bowl this year.
Okay.
I think your dad was asking about the Final Four. Final Four for playoffs or Final Four for March Madness?
Yeah.
Which one is he?
For playoffs, I'm going to say San Francisco and 49ers and the Eagles. In the NFC Championship game, I'm going to say Bengals. I'm trying to remember who's on which side of each other.
Yeah, that's where I'm going with too. And which side is?
I'd probably go Bengals. I'd probably go Bengals and Buffalo. Kansas City would be right there, but I think Buffalo has to me a lot of momentum that people are looking at. With what I know, it was a tragedy what happened with Hamlin, but now that he's shown that he's getting better. I think that's going to be a spark for the Bills that helps carry them some in the playoffs. We see teams get almost like it's just like destiny sometimes, and so I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills get hot. But I'm going to stick with I said there was going to be Cincinnati and San Francisco. That's what I've been saying for about the last 3 weeks now. So I'm going to stick with Cincinnati and San Francisco in the Super Bowl. But the Bills and the Chiefs are dangerous. Woo. And there's
Yeah.
I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think there's something to that? Oh, you've seen teams like galvanizing together.
I totally agree. When I look at the AFC side of it, yeah, when I look at the AFC side of the equation, I think it comes down to who has the better running game. And because I know that Singletary for the Bills, he's so-so. Same thing with Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Polanco. I guess that's how you Polanco, Pancaro, whatever his name, how you say that guy's name. I think he's, they're okay running backs, but I think Joe Mixon for the Bengals is really going to be the difference maker in that. So for that reason, I'm going with the Bengals, and I would say probably could be Bengals and Buffalo.
I don't think it's going to be Bengals and Buffalo because I think Bengals and Buffalo will have been around before that.
Either way, I have the Bengals repeating and going back to the Super Bowl. So I think it's going to be Bengals, and I do think it's going to be – I do think it's probably going to come down to – I think Dallas can beat Philadelphia, but if Dak doesn't play like Dak, then I think it'll wind up probably being Philadelphia and 49ers. And I think that 49ers – I think the 49ers could do it, man. So I'm going to go 49ers and Bengals in the Super Bowl.
Bengals and Bills would play each other in the divisional round if they both win this weekend. So
then it would be Bengals. Then I would have Bengals and Chiefs. And Bengals getting the
Bengals and Bills game is going to be man. We didn't get this.
I think Joe Mixon is going to be the difference maker. I think Joe Mixon and Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Boyd. I mean that Bengals team has got a stacked wide receiver running back core.
But the Bills are stacked on the offensive side of the ball as well, though.
No, except for running back.
Dude, Singletary. Everybody says that. Wait a minute. Everybody says that, but Singletary averages almost 5 yards a carry.
I get that, but again, but I don't think Singletary is better than Joe Mixon.
I'm not saying he's better than Joe Mixon, but he's not trash. He's a good running back, and with
Hey,
what Josh Allen,
I'm not saying he's trash, but when I got Jamar Chase going up against, let's say, Jamar Chase versus Diggs, and then you got Davis going up against T. Higgins, and then you still got Boyd out there. Who's Boyd going up against? What? Maybe the third best one would be Cole Beasley. And then you got to look over at the running game. You got Singletary versus Mixon. And then you got Burrow versus Josh Allen. I think I have to give the offensive edge to the Bengals, I think, on that one.
I don't know. I think it's real close. I think it's going to be close. They both got a lot of weapons.
I think it's going to be close, but I kind of have to agree with Jay. I'm going with Chiefs and Cincinnati because I think Chiefs are going to beat the Jaguars and then go on to play Cincinnati. However, on the NFC side, that's where I'm still trying to look at. I'm still looking to see.
Hey, stop using your wife as an excuse. You know you want the Finns to win. You're a closet Finns fan. Stop it. You're not even a New England fan. You're a Finns fan.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nate. I had to point that out.
Yeah, to me, for the Bengals and the Bills, I think it's going to come down to which defense plays better in that game because both offenses can score points. But I trust the Bengals defense a little bit more just because of all the injuries that the Bills have had on defense. So, but I think that's what that game is going to come down to is going to be the defense.
Yeah,
but
then again, though, Buffalo has taken some hits, obviously, with losing Danny Hamlin and company. That secondary for Buffalo has taken some hits. I think that's where Cincinnati can exploit them.
That's what I'm saying. I lean towards Cincinnati's defense a little more than Buffalo.
Yeah. Oh, I knew that's what you were saying.
Cincinnati.
I knew that's what you were saying.
But we say this, but hey, Buffalo and the Bengals both have to win this week first because the Ravens, if Lamar Jackson's playing, is not going to be an easy game. The Dolphins and the Bills
playing
on who's going to be the Dolphins quarterback and how that game goes as well. So I mean, it's not like they both got easy games to advance.
You're an easy game.
So I got the Eagles. Question. I have Chiefs and Bengals in the final four. I also have the Eagles and 49ers. I have Eagles beating the 49ers for one reason, and that's because Brock Purdy's a rookie, and rookies don't really tend to do well in the playoffs. So I got the Eagles moving on to face Cincinnati, and Cincinnati wins.
Hey, Burrow got to the damn Super Bowl in his second year.
Second year, not a rookie.
I didn't say rookie. I just said he got there in his second year, Nate. Pay attention. I didn't say rookie. I said second, meaning sophomore year. And what I mean by that, the reason why I brought that up is because I feel like Jalen Hurts is in his sophomore year. And if Jalen, oh my God, and then Purdy is in his. Could you imagine? You know what? People overlook what if Purdy does get them there? What if Purdy gets his team into the Super Bowl in his freshman year? Oh my God!
And then Greg, I kind of agree with you. I think the Jags could come away with the win.
I do too. I definitely think so. Absolutely.
I think I have. I mean, depending on how you view it as an upset, I have one, maybe two upsets this week. I have the Giants beating the Vikings. And then, depending on how you view the Jaguars and Chargers game, I picking Jacksonville to win.
Yeah.
Although, I will say I think that the Chargers may have a better chance at beating the Chiefs than the Jaguars do, but I'm still picking Jacksonville.
Interesting.
Yeah, I can't pick the Chargers because I don't trust Brandon Staley to get through a game if it's a close game.
I think the Chargers messed up last week in playing their starters in the Broncos game. And they still lost. Oh.
I am a fan of all teams Texas. Don't get me wrong. So yeah, but hey, Cowboys, damn it, let's go. Where's New England at? I don't see New England anywhere in the picture.
Damien said,
and the Fins are a long ways from New York.
Hey Frankie, what did I say about Denver yesterday? Oh, the Nuggets. Not the Broncos, but the Nuggets.
I'll tell you what, though, Denver Nuggets are playing some good-ass basketball right now. Damn. How long do you think it's going to last, Nate, before somebody gets hurt?
Oh. I don't know. It's probably going to happen sometime this season.
Well, let's hope it doesn't, but I understand where you're coming from, too, though. God, let's hope it doesn't, though. Jeez. Is it cold up there where you are, Nate?
Yeah.
I was just curious how y'all's weather up north was. Gonzo, has it been pretty warm up there where you are? Are you all good or what? Is it still cold as hell?
No, I haven't been too bad. Today it's like right, I think 46 outside, so that's not too bad. 46 this time. 46 this time of year is great. So
I'm about to say, damn, hey, listen, this is about 60 something out here in Savannah. So, and I'm thinking I'm hurting.
Yeah, 46 isn't bad. I can go stand out on the porch and smoke a cigarette.
Of course you can. Gonzo, one thing I love about smokers is smokers are resilient. I don't care. Look, I will tell you right now, a smoker will go out in 10 below zero with nothing more than a pair of boxers and maybe some socks and smoke a cigarette if they have to.
I'm not that dedicated.
Yeah, you
I go sit in the car and start the car and sit in the car with some heat is what I do when it gets that cold. So I go get in the car.
What a time, man. Damn.
I take the dog out. I'll take the dog out. When I take him out, I start the car. That way it can start warming up. And then I take the dog back to the house and I go out and sit in the car.
Frankie's teasing me about not living in Denver. You're a Lakers fan and you root for New England sports. You can't live in both.
Hey, listen, I've had that conversation with Frankie numerous times, Nate. So just let it go. It just goes in one ear and out the other. So let it go. Trust me, I've had that conversation with Frankie for a long time now.
That's
California, New York, and Massachusetts. Those are the three states he roots for. Time to be alive. What a time to be alive. Jeez, man. He don't know who the
states I root for. Colorado. Utah.
Nobody asked you, Nate. Nobody cares about you, Nate. We already know. You're Denver. Hey, you're Denver, Fort Worth, and Seattle.
And Utah for college.
And exactly, Utah for college. I forgot. I left out the Mormons. My bad. Forgive me, oh thou.
Let's get the final thoughts.
I'm not going first, Nate. You got to go first.
Final thoughts. That was a great game. For not the TCU one. The Denver Nuggets game last night. That was a great game. And I'm really, really excited for this basketball and hockey season as it continues to go for. And thank you again for having me on.
Oh, we love Nate.
Welcome on anytime.
Man, we love us some Nate, damn it. And Nate, man, you got to get on unscripted. Let me know, man, what day you're available, man. You got to open invite anytime you want to come on. You know that.
Not tomorrow, but I'm usually available on Wednesdays.
Nate, did I ask you tomorrow? I just said get with me and let me know what day is good for you, bro. That's all good. Calm down over there. Don't make me come over there with the taser. I will tase your ass. By the way, if you've never been struck by a taser before, it is not a good feeling. Just gonna put that out there. It's not a good feeling. I don't recommend it. Unless you're doing TikTok, and then if that's the case, hey, do you, boo boo? No, man, it's crazy. I tell you, man, I don't ever count anybody out. I think tonight on Unscripted, food for thought, Gonzo, be thinking about this now. Top 5 quarterbacks under the most pressure. Top 5 quarterbacks under the most pressure to win a Super Bowl this year. Who's your top 5 under the most pressure to win this year's Super Bowl? But no, man. Hey, great having you. Hey, great hanging out with you guys. Yeah, TCU did not do well. Hopefully, TCU next year will have a better opportunity to make amends, and hopefully, Texas will finally get out from that injury bug and start capitalizing on the games that they need to win next year, like the Alabamas, like the Texas A&M, stuff like that. So Texas, you got your work cut out for you. Astros, man. Hey, we are not too far off from spring training. I think we're right at about 100 days, maybe a little bit less than 100 days. So I am curious to see if there's any more trades or free agents to be signed out there that have not already been signed. And, yeah, man, catch us tonight. Catch us tonight on Scripted. I know Gonzo will be there. I think Logan will be there. So it's going to be a good night talking sports. 7 p.m. Eastern. Unscripted Guys on Twitter, all one word. Unscripted Guys. Check this out. That's it. And Pearland. Damn it. Pearland. God. Come on, Pearland. Hey, Gonzo, real quick. When I know you're the aficionado. When does Little League World Series, when does that kick off?
End of July, August. End of July, beginning of August. Okay. They start doing the regionals. Yeah. Regionals are end of July, and then the actual Little League World Series is in August.
Okay, so we're looking at the July timeframe. Though is when all the festivities kick off.
Oh, yeah. I'll be watching. As soon as they start having them games on TV, I love watching that Little League baseball. One of these days, I'm gonna make it. No doubt, man. I'm gonna make it to Williamsport to go watch it live one of these days.
Hey, me and you both. I told you when I get the RV, man. Hey, we're cranking it up, man. I'm gonna come grab you, we'll go make that happen. Nate, I'd come get you, but you're way the hell over there in freaking Seattle, man. I'm not going up to Seattle. Nobody likes Seattle unless you want to fly down to Indianapolis, and then you can join up with me and Gonzo.
I don't even live in Seattle to begin. Well, I live close to it, but I don't live in Seattle to begin with.
Are you in freaking Oregon? Is Seattle? No, are you in Washington?
I am in Washington, but
nobody cares. All I know about Washington is Seattle. Everything is close to Seattle. Okay. Damn, Gonzo, where do we find these guys? Why are they being assholes?
Hey, only thing I know about Washington, Jay, is Pearl Jam, Nirvana.
Hey, they do have good. Hey, there is good music that comes out of Seattle, though. I will tell you that. There's some great musical acts. Let me tell you.
So my final thoughts. Ready for the NFL playoffs, and Pacers are top 6 in the East right now. When you just keep winning some games, they're looking good. Hopefully, they don't decide to bust it up like they usually do. But we're ahead of schedule. Also, please hit that subscribe button on YouTube at GonzoSportsRoom, at the All Sports All Plays Network. Like and follow on Facebook and Twitch as well. Appreciate everybody watching today. We'll be back tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern. Also, we'll be live tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. with Around the Bases, the baseball show. And then here, about 15, 20 minutes, we'll be live with Easy Money, a sports betting show. My picks went 5-2 yesterday. So I had a pretty good day yesterday on my picks.
Would have made some money on you yesterday, Gonzo. I should have bet on you.
So, well, as long as you didn't bet the national championship game, I got my ass kicked in there.
Yeah, hey, I think a lot of us did.
I took the under the 62.5. Fucking Georgia beat the total by themselves.
Wait a minute, hold on, wait. Did you say it was 62.5?
Yeah, I took under 62.
So they had to score 62 points or and a half or less for you to win.
I took under 62.5 points both teams combined. So like if the score,
when he had both their scores together. Oh, okay.
We
definitely blew
under 62.5, and Georgia beat it by themselves.
Did you ever think that would happen? Nobody thought that would happen.
I actually, yesterday they scored less points than I thought it was going to be.
So I thought it was going to be like a 20. I thought both teams would be in the 20s is what I really thought. But
I thought it was going to be more like 62 to, I don't know.
No, you didn't, Nate. Stop it. You understand? I don't want to hear that. No. Unless you got receipts backing yourself up, I don't want to hear it, Nate. I don't want to hear anything about what you said unless you got receipts that can back it up.
Actually, I do. Not the score, but I do have something that backs it up.
What do you have, Nate? What could you possibly have?
Yesterday's show. I said it was going to be more like Georgia versus Ohio State, where they score a lot of points, but Georgia comes out in the victory.
I call bullshit. I don't care what anybody says. Gonzo, I'm not getting on that fucking food truck, and I hope you don't either, okay? Go to the next food truck, because this food truck's bad. All right, man, Gonzo, unless you got more for us, let's get the hell up. God, it must be sunny out there, man, because Nate is just blasted in sunlight right now.
And before we get out of here, also, Dad does the sports betting show with me. He had a parlay and was 5-2 on his picks yesterday. So we had a good day on the picks. So join us this afternoon here in about 15-20 minutes. But we appreciate everybody watching. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, for another episode of the ASAP Afternoon Blitz. Everybody have a great Tuesday.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.